If the 2020 season taught us anything, is that quarterback inconsistency is all too familiar with the Carolina Panthers. What I want to look at today is the 2021 upcoming draft class and the free agency class to see who just might be available to come into our system and be ready to play right away, or who may take a little bit of time to develop, but still may be a superstar down the road. Let's do it today on the One Carolina Show. What's up, guys? I'm John Farmer, and if this is your first time on the channel, hit that subscribe button and bell notification so you don't miss a video. So let's get into it. This season for the Carolina Panthers was a roller coaster, to say the least. And although we picked up a ton of great pieces through last year's draft, who we'll discuss in later videos, the most glaring need moving forward, quarterback one. Look, we can all appreciate what we thought we were getting from Teddy Bridgewater this year, especially when you consider what he put on film with the Aints last year. Plus, who doesn't love addition by subtraction? Especially if your plan all along was to make Teddy a bridge of sorts. Sort of like Alex Smith to Patrick Mahomes, Alex Smith to Colin Kaepernick. See what I did there? Bridge of sorts. Teddy Bridgewater, bridge. So with that being said, let's take a look at a few of the quarterbacks in this year's draft. Number 1, Trevor Lawrence. Okay, disclaimer. The chance of this happening on a scale from 0 to 0 is 0. But it's fun to dream, right? Not much to say here that the film doesn't already tell. Trevor Lawrence is one of the most highly decorated quarterbacks in college football history and is all but a lock to be the number 1 pick in this upcoming draft. Even though it seems impossible to see a scenario where he would end up with the Carolina Panthers, with the hiring of Scott Fitterer and his proclaimed aggressive approach to shoring up the quarterback position, nothing's off the table. However, even more than a trade, I'm sure Jacksonville would never pass up on the chance to not only bring in a guy with phenomenal arm talent, but also a face of the league type player to bring attention to the franchise. Number 2, Justin Fields. Now here's where things get interesting. Justin Fields may be the most known unknown prospect in this entire draft. The reason I say this is because here's what we know. Coming out of high school, Justin and Trevor were considered 1 and 1A coming from Georgia, with Justin deciding to stay home and attend UGA. After transferring to Ohio State the following season, Justin threw for a stout 3,200 yards and 41 touchdowns to only 3 interceptions. And in a COVID-ravaged season, he threw for 22 touchdowns to only 6 picks and appearances in the college playoff in both years. Justin has been projected all over this draft, from as high as number 2 overall to as low down as number 9 overall to Denver. The question is, how would he fit with the Panthers? I think quite well, actually. Especially when you consider his unique skill set of being a mobile quarterback, much more of a passer than a runner, but sees the field very well and can escape in tough situations and show up pretty big in huge games. The biggest unknown for me was, does he have the mentality to be a vocal leader on the field and in the sidelines to bring everyone up to playing to his level? I think he silenced a lot of those concerns with a huge game against Clemson, where he showed a ton of leadership. Number 3, Zach Wilson. Now I gotta be honest, Zach Wilson is probably my favorite QB prospect in this entire draft. This kid has phenomenal touch, arm strength, and decision making. And while he had a very subpar sophomore season throwing for only 11 touchdowns to 9 interceptions in 9 games, the fact that he went back to the drawing board, refined his mechanics and decision making, and threw for 33 touchdowns to only 3 interceptions in 2020 shows you the kind of stuff this kid is made of. The biggest knock on Zach Wilson is no doubt the level of competition that he played against. My counter argument to that, however, is what was the level of talent that Aaron Rodgers played against at Cal, or for that matter, Ben Roethlisberger in Miami of Ohio? Sometimes you can just look at a guy and tell he has the it factor. I think when it's all said and done, Zach Wilson could be the guy everybody's looking at in this draft from 2 years down the road, saying like, wow, man, look what he became. Just as long as he doesn't end up in a Falcons jersey. This next group of guys are who I would like to refer to as the unknowns. Now, I preface my comments by saying that these guys are far from unknown and were absolute rock stars at their respective colleges. And while the previous picks before are no more guaranteed to success, some of these QBs may benefit from falling into the right situation at the right time. Take Trey Lance, for instance. This guy may have had one of the strongest arms I've ever seen and is super athletic as well. He only really had 1 full year as a starter and has never thrown an interception in college. Not a one. Guys like he, Mac Jones, Kyle Trask, Kellen Mond, or even Jamie Newman may benefit from landing in a situation where they can sit for a year or two and learn how to be a pro. The one benefit from the Panthers' perspective is that we have a guy in Teddy that they can sit behind and learn from the daily grind of how to be a quarterback. Considering how Matt Rule is looking to establish a new culture of consistency, it can only benefit a young player to go into a situation where they aren't expected to have coaching changes every year, or even where they're expected to come in and take over day one. Now, there's always a Russell Wilson that could come along and compete and take over day one, and I look forward to seeing if one of these guys could be just that kind of player. Last but certainly not least, we look at a QB who could set our team up for the next 8 to 10 years, DeShaun Watson. For what seems like the first time in NFL history, a superstar quarterback in the prime of his career has openly requested a trade from a franchise who just paid him a huge contract. Coming off a 4-12 season, DeShaun threw for 33 touchdowns to only 7 interceptions with an average of 8.9 yards per attempt. That is absolutely nuts. Just to put this in perspective, the Panthers had 3 receivers go over 1,000 yards from scrimmage with a quarterback that only threw for 15 touchdowns. Can you imagine if DeShaun... Yeah. The only question is, what would it take to acquire a generational talent of this magnitude? The answer? A lot. According to John McClain for the Houston Chronicle, the Texans will want 2 first-round picks, 2 seconds, and 2 defensive starters just for the conversation to start. For as great as DeShaun Watson is, with unloading the kind of players that it may take to get him, players like Brian Burns, Dante Jackson, or even the thought of a Jeremy Chin would be absolutely mind-blowing. As far as picks are concerned, Fitterer comes from a franchise who lived in the 3rd to 6th rounds of the draft, and while each year we don't want to be in position to pick 10 or above, some of our most notable franchise players have come from the 1st round, including 2017 8th overall pick Christian McCaffrey and 2012 9th overall pick Luke Kuechly. I'm sure Tepper and Fitterer and Matt Rule are considering the balance of leveraging the future of the franchise versus creating a new standard for the franchise by making what would likely be the biggest trade in NFL history. It'll definitely be exciting to watch. And that pretty much sums it up. As far as free agents outside of Watson, who isn't at all a free agent, I'd like to see us draft a guy and build from the ground up. But whatever we decide, I'm super excited to watch the process moving forward. But tell me what you guys think. Should we draft one of the upcoming QBs or push all our chips in on Watson? Let me know in the comment section. Thanks for watching this video and hit the like button on the way out. And remember, we are one Carolina. Keep pounding.
Wake up in the morning, I'm focused in on what really matters. And these rappers still chatter as if it even matters. Stack money like books, I'm on my next chapter. Cause at the end of the day, what are you really after? 5% of my salary goes to charity. I'm engaged to success. Who'da known it would marry me?